Good morning.
Good morning.
We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree?
Yes.
You are knowing what you are wanting?
Yes.
You are appreciating the expansion of your desire?
Yes.
Desire feels good, doesn't it?
Yes.
Desire that is not contradicted by doubt, that is. In other words, when you want something, when your life has helped you to come to awarenesses of what you prefer or what you want, when life helps you to say, this is something that I really want, and when you feel confident that it's just a matter of time and not that much time, and you will be the full receiver of it, then that desire feels so good to you. In fact, it is life-giving, isn't it? It is exactly that, life-giving. But if you have a desire, especially if you've had it for a while, and because your vibration about it has been out of whack and you haven't known it, so you're not receiving it. You've asked, but it's not anywhere you can see it. So over time, now you don't believe that it's coming, or you worry that you might be doing something wrong. You come up with really amazing justifications about why it hasn't come. It must not be appropriate for me to want that, or all the good ones must be taken, or I must have done something wrong in a past life, or you're very creative in that way. But what it comes down to is when you want something and it hasn't come and you don't know why it hasn't come, and you're sort of beating the drum of when will it come and where will it come from and who will be with it and what should I do, then those desires don't feel so life-giving. They don't really drain you, but they're calling through you, and you're not letting them go does set up stronger resistance, which is innervating to you. And that is what produces all negative emotion. Every negative emotion that you feel is because you have a desire that is summoning energy, but you have beliefs or chronic thoughts that are not letting the energy flow purely and clearly through you. When you want something and you don't contradict it with thoughts of doubt or disbelief, then there's no resistance, and the desire, as it pulls through you on its way to the creation of whatever it is you are wanting, as that desire pulls through you, it is life-giving. You feel enthusiasm, you feel passion, you feel frisky. And so what we'll be talking about today, all day here today, is about how to clean up that vibration, how to get yourself oriented toward what you want. You are source energy beings here in these bodies. Do you know that? Sometimes our physical friends understand that there was something before they came here, and they hope that there will be something afterward. But we want you to know that while you are here in this physical body, that only a small part, really, of the consciousness that is really you is focused here into this personality that you know as you. Now, we don't want that to make you feel diminished, because you are essential to the expansion of all that is. But all of you, all that exists as the non-physical part of you, is not here focused in this body. The larger part of you, sometimes you call it soul, we refer to it as your inner being, that soul source part of you still remains non-physically focused. You are a vibrational being. That part of you is purely vibrational. So then, as part of that consciousness focuses into you here, now you have the potential of the advantage of these two vibrational aspects. There's the source aspect, and there's the physical leading edge creative genius aspect. And those two vibrational aspects of you are playing off of one another all the time. Your life, in your willingness to expose yourself to variety, caused you and all that is to expand into an improved place. And the question that this gathering wants to help you ask and help you answer is, are you taking the expansion? Are you, who exposed yourself to the contrast and who is the reason for the improved discernment, the improved request? Are you out here on the leading edge now receiving the benefit of that expansion? And the answer to the question is felt by you within your emotions. If you feel frisky, the answer is yes. If you feel energized, if you feel passion, if you feel enthusiasm for life, then that means you launched a rocket and went with the rocket and became the new and improved vibrational state, which means the manifestation has to catch up with you and fast. But if you launch a rocket and you feel disappointed or you continue to feel lack, if you beat the drum of the reason that you're asking, in other words, I'm sick and I want to be well. So you launch the rocket of improved wellness, and the source part of you becomes weller. We're not kidding you. Weller than you were before you were sick and asking for wellness. So now the non-physical aspect of you is weller. But if you keep beating the drum of I don't feel good, beating the drum of I need someone to offer a prayer for me so that I can move from this place I do not want of sickness to a place of wellness, then without meaning to, by your attention to the reason you ask for wellness, you hold yourself in the vibrational attitude of sickness and you don't let yourself be the well-being. So now we're going to give you the strongest statement that we could give you or that you could ever hear. Every bit of negative emotion that you or anyone ever feels is for one reason only. Life caused you to expand, but you're holding to a thought that is not letting you take the expansion. In other words, your mass consciousness could be expanding. Your neighbor, people you live with could be expanding. But unless your life experience causes you to launch your individual rocket of desire request, unless your life has caused your expansion, you will not feel negative emotion in not keeping up. And you will not feel positive emotion in keeping up. Your emotions, the good feeling ones and the not good feeling ones, are all about your request for expansion and your relationship to that expansion. So it is always true that what you think and how you feel and what you get always match. Always, always. No exception. Law of attraction is not squirrely in any way. Law of attraction gives you the exact equivalent to what you're offering vibrationally. We call that, however, post-manifestational awareness. Oh, I must have been thinking in a way that was depriving me of the well-being that I want regarding this. But there is a pre-manifestational way that you can know where you're headed, and that is by paying attention to your moods, to your attitudes. Pay attention to the way you feel about things. Sometimes you're not sure if you're having a mood or an attitude because you're observing something unwanted, or if you're having a mood or an attitude because you're in the midst of creating something unwanted. Sometimes people say, if I'm sitting on a park bench and I get afraid, does that mean there's a monster in the bushes? Or does it mean I'm just worried about there being a monster in the bushes? And we say, in any case, get off the bench. In other words, your guidance is telling you that you're near something that you don't want. And by getting off the bench, we don't necessarily only mean get up and remove yourself physically. In fact, we don't really mean that so much at all. We mean get off the thought, get off the subject, get off the vantage point, get off the beating of the drum of whatever is giving you that mood. As Jerry and Esther were driving up from Oregon, Esther was driving and they were in their Tahoe, the tow car, and Jerry, who was always busy, was reading. He was working on the editing of something, and he reached into Esther's purse to get something, and while at her request, and while he was doing it, well, they see it as their purse. While he was doing it, he was taking things out of it, and Esther just doesn't see the point of that. Don't take everything out. Just fish around till you find what you're looking for. How long have we had this purse anyway? But Jerry was more comfortable filling his lap full of the contents of the purse, which was making Esther very uncomfortable. And so she is giving him a hard time about it, and he took it well, sort of, and then gave her a hard time back. It's hard to find anything in here. And Esther said, well, you just feel for it. If you feel for it, do you know what that feels like? Just feel for it. So they had their fun with it, and Jerry put things back in, sort of. And then several hours later, they were up in their suite, and Esther was looking for the appointment book, which has all kinds of information that is important to her in it, and it wasn't in her purse. And she said to Jerry, I think my appointment book may be still in the car, which had been checked by the valet. And Esther sort of sat there stubbornly thinking, and I'm not going and getting it. Because I'm not the reason that it's in the car. So Jerry, cheerfully seeming, took the valet ticket and went down and retrieved the book. And while he is gone, Esther is thinking, did I create that? Or did I see it coming? In other words, this has happened before. He doesn't care nearly as much as I do about what's in our purse. And we want to say, in either case, get off the bench. In other words, if Jerry had left things out of Esther's purse 100 times, and so she was pretty certain that he was going to clumsily and stupidly and uncaringly do it again. The point that we're making here is, it's Esther's responsibility. Now, this is going to sound hard to hear, but we want you to hear it. It's Esther's responsibility to develop the expectation of what she wants, regardless of the way others are behaving in her experience. Because there is a big case to be made for the fact that her concern about him doing as he was doing with her purse, it doesn't matter whether he trained her into that by leaving things in the car on dozens of occasions. There haven't been dozens of occasions. Well, close to it. But it doesn't matter what past experience has been. What matters is, am I a vibrational match to what I want? And the thing that is so interesting as you co-create with others is that you do not want to take responsibility for what they do. We'll just let that settle in just a little bit. You don't want to take responsibility for how others behave in your experience, but we want you to take responsibility for how you feel about everything that interacts with you. Now we've made an issue out of this. We would encourage Esther to do some focus wheels about lining up the way she feels about Jerry fishing around in her purse. Because she has an attitude about the way Jerry fishes around in her purse that does not serve her and that evokes from Jerry behavior that does not please her. And most of you want to say, well, Jerry's a big boy. Shouldn't he be able, like our children, shouldn't our children be able to hear our words and respond to our words at face value? And we say, you live in a vibrational universe. You are attracting by virtue of your vibration. Your vibration is your point of attraction, and when you have a strong point of attraction about something, the other can't buck your current. Now, Jerry and Esther, they've got a thing going on with this purse because Esther totes all this stuff around, stuff that Jerry needs all the time, and feels responsible for what's in the purse. And so she hasn't cleaned up her vibration about her relationship or Jerry's relationship with this purse, nor has he. In other words, they have purse issues. They do. They have purse issues that neither one of them have felt the need to clean up. In other words, it's not a big thing. If every time they had a purse issue, one of their teeth would fall out, they'd get on it. And what we want to say to you is that it's not the big things in your life that are causing you to train yourself out of vibrational alignment with who you are and what you want. It's little stuff like that all day, every day. It's interacting with people who, when you observe them, you don't feel good, and then you give them the responsibility to do something different so that you can feel good, but they're not going to do something different so that you can feel good, so you feel powerless, so you hold yourself incessantly out of vibrational whack with the fullness of who you are over such insignificant things. We're not kidding you. People say, oh, this terrible thing has happened to me, and I don't remember ever thinking about the specifics of that terrible thing. And we say, you don't have to think about specific things that are unwanted. You don't have to think about the specifics of them. You can just hold yourself in